What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharp, and welcome to the 218th edition of TSR Live, your daily dose of red pill truth, awareness, and wisdom. Actually, I think I got that mixed up. It's daily truth, wisdom, and awareness. Doesn't matter. You guys know what we do here. TSR Live is brought to you in part by HappyHippoHerbals.com, your one-stop source for the highest quality kratom on the planet. That's happyhippokratom.com. If you're looking for a caffeine-free energy burst with laser focus and mood enhancement, look no further than Happy Hippo Kratom. Go to happyhippoherbals.com today and save an additional 25% when you use Bitcoin. All right, guys, let's get to it. My guest tonight he's going to be talking about how to put your wife in her place and to keep her there. And my guest tonight is, of course, Rian Stone. Did a fantastic job at the 21 conference this past fall or winter. When was that, Ryan? Was that October? I think it was.
Late August, or no, early September, first week of September.
Yeah, first week of September. It was in the fall, end of summer, beginning of the fall, and of course I did I think the only other time I talked to you is when I did that roundtable with you and Rollo and all the other guys, Illimitable Man and all those other guys. That went really well. I liked it.
Yeah, I'm kind of a hidden guy. He's fun to talk to. It was good, really good feedback. It's kind of nice. I think it's my third podcast ever. So
no shit, man.
Still, yeah.
Yeah, but before we get started, tell everyone where they can find you, because I thought you had a podcast. Like listening to you at the 21 conference, I thought you had a show. I looked for it, I was like, where the hell is this guy, man? Why isn't he around?
No, short story is I'm one of the moderators at the Red Pill and the Married Red Pill subreddits on Reddit.
Okay.
The speaking stuff you were talking about was actually from my time in the military when I used to teach at the Fleet School on the West Coast, 12 years in the Canadian military. Basically, like everybody else, you get fucked over, you get red pilled, and here we are, a couple years later.
Good shit. All right, well, just to humanize you a little bit, it's funny. A lot of guys that listen to this show, they don't necessarily voice this, but they assume that guys like you and me have always been good with women, that we've never failed with women. Now, obviously, that's not the case with you. So before we get started, how did you find the red pill? Listen, I was going to say, what was her name? What was her bra size? Did she have a great ass? Did she let you do anal? Like, what happened with that?
See, that's the funny thing. It was actually screwed over by the system, not by a girl. It was mostly the military, but it's not really a good story. The reason I got to the red pill was because I used to be like old school mystery method, pickup, that kind of thing, had a layer in the works. It basically, once I started gamifying dating, it was fun. And then as life started to get hard again, then all of a sudden those relationships start to dwindle away, and it all just kind of came back. It was really convenient seeing the same faces. Kind of like Rollo used to be so suave, and
yes, that's right. That's where he got it started.
Red pill, so it was kind of nice. It's like coming back to see your old college buddies and see that they've moved on with their lives and on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, most of the time your old college buddies have not moved on to bigger and better things. A lot of times they're married to a fat woman, they've got 3 kids, and they're landlocked. They're trapped, they can't go anywhere.
Landlocked with a land whale.
I've already got a comment here that's going to sort of set the tone here for this particular show. It says, this is going to be interesting considering that the female knows she has the power once she gets married. And that is in part what we're going to talk about today, is how to keep your, because here's the thing, Ryan, a kept man, a tamed man, a married man is less attractive, I guess, by default, because women are attracted to men who are the wild stallions, the bad boys of the world. They can't be tamed. They love the wildness and the unpredictability. Well, of course. And of course, once a man puts a ring on it, he is now committed to that woman. So I guess in your own words, I know this is kind of a broad question. How should men, at least in the short term, keep his mind about him, keep his woman in line, knowing full well that, hey, being married, if he has red pill awareness that being married, I'm a little less attractive than I used to be?
The best way to frame it is there's nothing you can do.
Okay.
You can't tell her what to do. You can't control her. She don't need no man. She's got the ring. You literally have nothing. You have 3 tools, your affection, your attention, and your commitment.
Okay.
So instead of using the stick, what you do is remove the carrot. You've got those 3 things. You remove them based on the value she offers you. And those things only really have any value if you have high SMV. So if you're just some fat fuck sitting around eating cheesies all day, she's not going to care if you stop paying attention to her. On the other hand, if you're fit, if you're attractive, if you're charming, if you have game, and there's girls that show interest in you, those things are a little more effective. So the gist of it is you can't tell her what to do ever. What you can do is make her out of her mind if she even thinks of stepping over your boundaries. Is that articulation?
That makes listen, that makes perfect sense. And the interesting thing is that is effective in non-married that's effective in long-term relationships. It's effective with fuck buddy relationships. It's effective with friends with benefits. Yeah, it I mean, again, game conquers all. But again,
that makes me laugh because these guys, and they think, oh, I put a ring on it, so all of a sudden her pussy's not going to get wet the same way. Like, no, she's pretty much still a girl. She's the same bar girl you met 10 years ago. The only difference now is that she has $10,000 on a ring or whatever you spent on it, $3,000 and a couple quarters. I don't know.
Right. Yeah,
she's still a girl, so still gamer.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing, and I guess being one of the moderators over at Married Red Pill, I'm sure you get a lot of questions or a lot of posts. Hey, I just got married. I love my wife. I don't want to game her. Like I got married to her because I didn't want to play the game anymore. How can I maintain my frame and not play? Right. Of course, we're both laughing at this because the game never ends. What is your response to those things?
I usually, we can swear on this, right?
Oh, dude, fucking hell, man.
Yeah,
dude, listen, I just got banned on Twitter, man. You can swear all you want.
I usually just call him a faggot. Like, what were you thinking? At that point, she's just like, it's like a narcissism thing where you think, now she's the set piece in my one-man play. Like, you still got a gamer. If you don't make her wet, and it was a great thing, one of our old users, he's gone now, his name was Archwinger. He made a post called "Every Unhappy Wife is a Rape Victim," and he showed a conversation he was having with one of his married friends' wives who knew she had to have sex with him to keep the relationship going, but she just couldn't pull herself to do it. And he was kind of showing like the same psychological defense mechanisms that girls have when they're being raped and trying to defend themselves psychologically from it, or the same ones that those married women that have to do trickle sex to keep their men from divorcing them have. So it's it's really hard to not say it provocatively, but yeah, every unhappy wife is a rape victim. So if you're not running game, you're doing a disservice to you, because nobody wants transactional sex. I think Rolo just had an article on that. And until you've actually had a validation sex or a girl that actually wants you, like not your money, but you can't really understand the dynamic there. So, but like you said, you've got a savvy set of listeners here, so I'm sure they've seen the difference and they
absolutely
intuitive. But for the guy who just sits there saying, well, I don't want to have to work at it anymore. It's like, well, you'll figure it out the hard way, just like the rest of us do, apparently.
Well, that's the only way to learn it. I mean, I say all the time, listen, some lessons can be taught. Most of them have to be learned. And, we
are an ego-driven species, aren't we?
We are. We absolutely are, man. We got to see for ourselves, man. We got to put our hand on that hot stove to see how hot it really is. Hogan MGTOW actually, with a pretty good comment here, he says 90% of women cannot live without men, but as a man, we can live without a woman. Do you agree or disagree?
100%.
Okay. Why?
I've told my girl right now, we've been together 10 years. This is my one shot at it. I have no problems going solo after this. Not like not MGTOW, but just like nobody's moving in after.
Sure.
We're just better at being by ourselves. We don't have to have that sense of community. When we were single, we were the guys, like when I was in AFC, when I first got into college and that, it was 6 months in between meeting a girl and having sex. Like, I got used to those 6 months. I remember the girls you would talk to been like, they went without it for 2 weeks and all of a sudden they're losing their fucking minds. And it's just keep playing that up. It's so old. I think it's, what the hell is it? I want to quote some like classical literature shit, but that's more of like a limitable man thing. I can't quite remember it.
Right. Something profound and all that.
Yeah, but essentially that. And that's a good thing because yes, dick is cheap, but good dick is hard to find. So all you have to, like, if you're good dick, and it's not going to guarantee that she's not going to cheat, not going to leave,
of course
not going to love you forever, but at that point she's replaceable. So not only does that give you a buffer against her deciding not to act right, if she does decide to, then you aren't going to be sitting there crying over it, or worst case scenario, shooting yourself in the head or shooting up a school. It's going to replace her with the next one that weekend.
Christ, yeah. No, I mean, yeah. I mean, I agree with you. And you said, did you just say that you've been in a relationship for 10 years?
Yeah, we've been, in Canada, they actually force marriage on you. It's called common law marriage.
Yeah, we actually
got rid of it because you didn't want the gays to marry. But yeah, so 10 years now we've been married. She's got the ring, all that stuff. So like, I'm in it to win it.
All right.
But I was going to be the fully single forever playboy. It just so happens she never gave me a reason to leave her in like 10 years.
So there we go. I was going to say, what is it about your girl that keeps you around?
It's because she can drywall. Well,
pretty damn good reason in my book.
It's deeper than it sounds. I'm not trying to be flippant here, but yeah, she's not.
Man, I get it.
Most girls are a wormhole. You're attractive, or how did Rolo put it again? Show up, bring beer. She's not one of those. She can actually do things. So if it was just a matter of getting, a girl to have sex with all the time, and you're eventually going to run into crazy that does that, you realize long term it's not going to work. So at the end of the day, she brings more value than she takes away, because girls cost.
Of course they do.
Girls cost. They say divorce is expensive. No.
Shit, man.
Funny thing. So we swap stories. Everybody talks about their divorces, their marriages, their problems, all that stuff. Every guy we've had divorced, and there's not a lot yet, but they've all said that their month-to-month cash flow and disposable income has gone up after the divorce.
Why is anybody surprised at that?
So I think divorce rape is a term that needs to die. Like, it really does. So many guys are so scared because of that, and it's like, really, it's as soon as you get in, that's where the damage is. Once you're out, you're fine.
Now, you said your woman brings more value than she takes away. Well, if you don't mind me asking here, be specific. I mean, obviously she's attractive. I mean, I think that goes without saying. But what does she give me a few things that she does specifically that separates herself from most girls, and then tell me 3 things that she doesn't do specifically that separates her from, because again, Ryan, like, you're, international playboy, you're this Canadian guy, served in the military, this and that and the other. Like, you be out there slaying bitches, but something about this girl has kept you around for 10 years, so much so that the country of Canada has said, Ryan, you must make her Mrs. Stone. We don't give a fuck. and you agreed. So I want to know, does she not have a gag reflex? I mean, do you have a 14-inch cock and you can stick it all the way in, balls deep? Like, what is it?
This is going to sound really stupid, but I remember one day she was like one of the bar girls we used to be. She was like a plate for the longest time. We dated and it was fine. It was casual. And I remember one day I had to go work an evening shift and I was working at a naval operations center doing IT and whatever. And I came home and she was passed out in my tub.
Oh, shit.
So, and the reason I get to that is because she was just drunk and she came home and she had a shower and then she just went to sleep. So, but to me, that was kind of a sweet thing, because usually when I'm dating girls that are bar girls, they go into do a bar thing. I don't hear from them. And so right there, like, we're not dating. You can do what you want, but I'm not going to trust you. But at the same time, she went out, got drunk, and I think I got home about 4:30 in the morning. Like, I went out, she got drunk without me, then she just came home, and I'm like, and it's just little things like that. Like, every chance, and every guy who's dated enough girls, like, my end count's not the greatest. I'm not triple digits, but I'm not. What's the average for America? Seven.
I think it's like 7 or 8, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking blow that one out. But so you kind of get a handle on what you don't want. And so if you do it for long enough, and I found there was like a 12-month period where she just did nothing, no red flags. So I can't really narrow it down to something specific. It's just, I mean, you give somebody an obstacle course for a full year and they don't slip even once. And it just kind of eased into that now. And a lot of our other successful married guys were the same way. They didn't actually go out to get married. They weren't looking for a wife and to start a family and all that stuff. They just kept dating until they had a reason not to, and then they just let her go. And then finally one wasn't doing it. I mean, it's literally vetting.
Yes. And listen, that brings up a very good point, because when I met my girlfriend, I didn't have any intention on, like, when I met my girlfriend, I would never have guessed in a million lifetimes that I would be where I am now with her. But you use the correct term, obstacle course. Luke, listen, man, I said on my show yesterday, dude, I put my girlfriend through an obstacle course for a solid 1.5 years before I finally decided to commit. And I think that is integral. And I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right, but I think it's very important to vet your woman, make her earn your affection, like we talked about yesterday with Ed Lattimore. You have to make her earn your affection, dude. And I don't want to say half the work is done, but that really goes a long way in setting the tone for the relationship. So when you say obstacle course, what kind of things did you do to make her sort of quasi earn and prove herself to you?
Oh, geez. Okay, I'm thinking back like a decade now, so you'll have to bear with me.
Let's do it.
I just know before her, there was a girl I was dating. Her name was Charlie. She was fucking psychotic. Like, she abandoned 5 kids to come have
good pussy. Hold on. Good pussy, though, right? Because the psychotic chicks always have the good pussy.
Yeah.
Of course.
That goes without the saying. trying to think of the crazy stuff you would stop at. And like, I'll go back to the bar example. I remember when I finally figured out she was bipolar. She'd be out to the bars, and then 5 o'clock I wouldn't hear nothing. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. I wasn't quite red pilled then, because then I was still a little bit worried. I'm like, she's not back at 5. I hope everything's okay. Like, your first thought being an idiot is like, I hope she's safe.
Oh my God, I hope she's fine. Like, I hope nothing's happened to her. Yeah.
Yeah, but in reality, you're like, oh yeah, where
she's getting ass fucked by, some dude at the club or the bartender or whatever.
Or this other girl I dated. I never even used her name. I called her the dog walker because she used to walk dogs for the SPCA. And for some reason, it just felt like I was humanizing her if I referred to her as her name.
Listen, whoa. Let me stop you right there, bro. Yo, I used to do this all the time. I'm like, listen, man, I used to tell people this in my early episodes. Dude, if you want to be a player, don't put the girl's name in your phone. Objectify her. Deep throat, swallow her, down for anal, fucked her on the first date. Like, do not humanize these bitches. The dog walker is brilliant. I love it.
Yeah, I would constantly do stuff like this. Like, I'm the first guy to admit I am not pleasant. Like, everybody's talking about, do you buy her a ring? Like, she earned that. I'll grant her that, because I am not a peach to live with. So it's just shit like that. And I did that constantly. And not only did it not phase her, she kind of like joke around and went with it. So it's not going to be like dating a Hillary supporter where all of a sudden you're turned into a misogynist because you have a joke.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's the hard thing, because you're asking me these questions and I know what the answer is, but it's such a subtle, like, it's not a game. It's not, sure. Or it's not pickup. I mean, it's not where you have, oh, I just do this routine, and then if she does this, then it's pass, and this it's fail. You kind of internalize it. And you just be ornery as shit, but you're always fun, and then you just see, if you see her at the bar and she's worried more about all the male attention than you, then you kind of put that in the back pocket, or if she spends more time on Instagram or Facebook than, talking to you, or if she's ignoring you on things, and you eventually build up all these little observations, and each one by itself is no big deal, but then you take them all together and you realize, like, okay, she's in it to win it.
Okay, so it's almost like it's a confluence of events, and it's almost like you indirectly put her through an obstacle course, just like women subconsciously shit test men. Women don't think to themselves before they shit test you, okay, I'm gonna shit test Ryan, or I'm gonna shit test Donovan. Here's my shit test. Let's see how he responds. No, it just sort of comes out that way. They can't explain it. It just is.
And I don't want to say it like being a natural, because I'm not a natural.
I don't think
I was doing mystery method, for fuck's sakes.
I don't think any of us are naturals, but we do this for so long it becomes who we are.
Yeah, but everybody kind of thinks of the natural as the guy they have to compete against. That's the Chad, and I can't do this. He's a natural. He's 6'2". He's got that. I'm like, no, naturals just practiced enough to they don't think about it anymore, and that's kind of where I got. And luckily for me, I never actually settled down until I had that kind of like intuitive understanding of game, which I wish I could articulate it. Yeah, second nature. Well, third nature.
Okay.
I'm not a smart man, so.
I tell people all the time, I'm not as smart as I sound, man. Like, don't get it twisted.
Yeah, and it's essentially just a long-running version of push-pull. And I think that's an awesome thing, because like you were saying with kept men earlier, where eventually things get boring because she knows she has you, but, just keep doing the push-pull. Like, act like an asshole one day and act kind the next, and it makes things exciting. Try to fight for no reason.
Listen, right, dude, classic game method, push-pull. Piss her off one day, make her love you the next. That's the way it goes. Had a question here earlier from Retro Fan. It's actually about what you just said. He says, what are your thoughts on long-term relationships or marriage sexual relationships becoming stale and routine? How do you combat that? What are your thoughts on that?
Fuck, I just like sex so much, I don't know how to make it stale.
Okay.
Like, he deserves a better answer. He really does. I'm just trying to think. Like, I know there's a lot of guys, depends who you ask. You got Hunter, the family alpha, and he always talks about making your inner slut. Didn't really resonate with me, but a lot of guys seem to like it. I just take an ownership perspective. Like, if sex is stale, it's because you're making it stale. Like, I've never seen a girl talk as much shit in a bedroom as a guy does.
Sure.
If you get, like, grab a girl by her hair, or do something.
Yeah, call her name. Yeah, right.
Maybe even just build the tension up beforehand. Just be a complete ass to her. Get a nice hate fuck out of your system once every couple months, if that's what it takes. It's just one of those things. It's like, it's your problem. So what are you going to do about it? Now, if you don't want to do anything about it, and you just want to complain, first off, that's a DLV, this demonstration of lower value.
Yep.
But at the second point, if you're not going to do anything about it, then you really need to learn to align your expectations with your actions. So if you complain it's stale, and I don't see you stepping up to try something, Now, as far as specific things that's kind of the really good part about the Married Red Pill subreddit is that there's about 12,000 guys there. It's not a big subreddit, but it's really good engagement. And then, oh, this guy will try this with his wife and it worked. This guy tried this. Oh, well, I think one of the guys was big on trying out ropes, like tying people up and shit. Got a lot of hate for that from a bunch of angry middle-aged women who called it rape because everything is rape. But
right. But guess what?
Yeah.
But guess what? If one of them actually had it done to them, they would like it. They wouldn't admit it, but they would love it.
Oh, 100%. So that's the kind of thing. Like, I don't have all the answers, but I also know that, out of the 12,000 of us, we have like 800 different answers, and one of them is most likely
one of them's got to be right.
Yeah, because guys aren't really that different between us. There's maybe 6-7 different archetypes and just a little bit of variation.
Listen,
different hair, but he's exactly the same as that one.
Exactly the same thing. And listen, I'll submit this to you too. I tell my viewers, you don't really have to. In episode 17, why you shouldn't care about a woman's needs in bed. And the reason why is because most of a woman's satisfaction is tied to your satisfaction. You have two different scenarios, right? I'll actually put this to you. Got two different scenarios. You've got Donovan Sharp and his woman. Donovan Sharp fucks his woman. He's busting it out all over the place, but my woman doesn't orgasm. Well, then we've got Rian Stone over here. He's fucking his woman 6 ways from Sunday. She's squirting all over the place, but Rian Stone doesn't come. 10 times out of 10, Ryan, they're going to choose the women are going to choose the Donovan Sharp scenario, because if it doesn't matter how good sex is for a woman, if the man doesn't come, that literally takes away her sexual validation. Okay, his dick was hard enough to fuck me, but if he didn't come, then, oh my God, what's wrong with me? What say you?
Oh yeah, I conquer the beast. That's totally like a female thing. The guy needs to get off. That's his fantasy. And you can't really think of women and men interchangeably like that. We do talk about that often, where guys we're having starfish sex, they call it, just that duty sex once every 2 weeks, and they're trying to make a girl come, but she's not into it because she's just there because she wants to keep the checks going and that. And so he goes, what do? I've tried, appeasing her this way and short play this way. You're like, just stop. Just go get yours, treat her like a warm sock and be done with it.
There you go.
She'll get mad. Okay. Well, at least it's better than being apathetic. It's a step up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, listen, her being right now, I totally agree. Her being mad, or how can I put this? Her being mad versus being bored, that's not bored, right? Like a woman would rather have sex that she's mad about than starfish sex. At least there's some sort of emotion out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like every time you see a hashtag Me Too of one of those not really Me Too scenarios, like the Aziz one where I blew him twice and then I don't know, whatever the hell she said, but she won't shut up about it.
No.
Yeah. He didn't really care. He was awkward about it. Now, had he been a charming guy with a little bit of game, she would have probably still been bitching constantly about it, but, she wouldn't have shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah, that's
true. Sometimes that's just it. Something to bitch about, too. As long as it's emotionally engaging, it's not a bad experience.
Even if it is a bad experience, it's still emotionally engaging for women.
Yeah, well, that's the success part. Yeah.
There you go. And a lot of times, like women and men alike ask women, why is she in an abusive relationship? Why doesn't she leave him? Well, because battered women, for better or worse, are not bored. And women, they would never admit this, but women would rather be in an abusive relationship than a boring one. If gun to your head, if you had to pick one of two relationships, women would say, hey, you know what? I'd rather be battered than to be bored.
Just doubling down on that Twitter ban.
There you go, man. I'm trying to tell you. Listen, I have like 200%
right. Like I said, what's the opposite of love isn't hate, it's apathy.
It is indifference. That's exactly right. Right. The minute she doesn't give a shit, it's over.
Yeah, and you have an entire emotional roller coaster you can go with there, getting her from so pissed off at you and you're treating her like crap, and then getting the resolution. The whole thing there, that's just another routine. And if you're doing it well, it's not a routine that you have to remember what the steps are, like the old mystery method. It's a
rinse
routine.
and repeat.
You get a habit of it. Yeah. One guy, even one of our guys, he had the same thing where he finally realized it was bad for him, but his wife wouldn't fuck him, so he would get angry about it and butthurt. So he'd start a fight with her, or she would start a fight with him. They would end up not seeing each other for 3 days, and then they'd have great hate sex afterwards. And then he noticed they just kept redoing this cycle. Now, it solved his immediate problem of not getting sex. It kind of went to a different problem with now they're in this vicious cycle between them.
Of course.
So that's where you kind of have to be a little game aware so you can like drive these things in a certain direction. And that ties into your question. I think one of your topics too is bitch management. Like
that's right.
your wife to do something, or how do you get your woman to do something, which is you can't. You can just reward good behavior and not reward bad behavior. Like I said, you pull your attention, you pull your commitment, you pull your affection. And you see the extreme examples. There's some guys who haven't had their sex with their wife in 10 years.
Oh my God.
Fucking ridiculous. So at that point, and cheating is wrong, you shouldn't cheat, it's a horrible thing. But if that guy went out and got some strange, he's going to find this weird phenomenon we found. It's called hysterical bonding. I don't know who came up with the term, but it's like pre-selection meets that same, I'd rather have an abuser than a boring guy.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, man.
And the guys would come back, they're like, yeah, for 10 years, it was nothing, like maybe once a year. So finally, I went out and had sex with some random girl, and then she found out about it, she was pissed off, and then we've been fucking like rabbits ever since.
Dude, listen, man, I'm telling you, and you understand this too. This is 100% truth. Rollo always says this, and I 100% agree. Women don't want you to cheat, but they like to know that you can. But women are fucking degenerates. Even if they know that you could cheat, they still don't believe that you could cheat unless you actually do. So women don't.
Well, we'll see. Some have a head on their shoulders and they can figure it out, but some are slow.
Some are slow, and so
you are slow.
And you have to speed up that learning curve. I agree with you 100%, dude. I remember I was seeing this chick, man, and I think that she had told me that I found out she was fucking somebody else, and so I cut it off. And then she's like, "All right, I'm gonna be with you," and this and that. And we went back and forth, this and that and the other. And so I remember I was fucking this other girl on the side. She didn't know about it. This girl tagged me in a Facebook page. Dude, the other girl that I was seeing, dude, she calls me up. Dude, she called me every fucking name of the book. Fuck you. You suck. You're a disgrace to the male species. Dude, she called me every fucking name of the book. This bitch was blowing up my phone. This was post red pill. Then she sends me a text message, I don't know, like a day later. I can't believe you did this to me. She says, I truly hate you. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fuck this bitch again at some point in time. The very next night was fucking Friday night. Dude, my hand to the fucking man. Friday night, this bitch sends me a blank text message. And I'm like, okay, I'll bite. So basically, she hit the space bar, then texted me because she wanted to say something without saying it.
Show up, bring beer. The most non-committal
dude,
ever.
Man. So
chicks have no game.
I know they don't. They're so transparent. So I said, blank text, wrong person. She's like, oh, no, I'm sorry. That was for my sister, blah, 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 blah. I said, okay, left it at that. 60 seconds later, Ryan, this bitch calls me up crying. She's like, I can't believe you hurt me. I'm like, look, you told me we were done, and I'm not going to sit around and cry about it. I'm going to get out there on the horse. And so she kept bitching and bitching and bitching. And so finally I shut up. She says, do you want to come over? All right, cool. So I go over there, right? And I fuck her. And then we're laying in bed after I fucked her. She's like, I love you, right? There it is, man. Man, I swear to God, bitches always talk about the fact that they don't want guys who run around. But they do. It's their female nature. They do, but they don't want that confirmation. They need it, man. They need it just like women need abusers to not be bored, man. Women don't cheat on abusers. They cheat on boring guys. Yeah.
It's a hardwiring thing. And it was actually Jeffrey Miller. I don't know if you know who he is. He's an evolutionary psychologist on Twitter. Yeah. He put me on with this book. It's called Why Women Have Sex by Dr. Cindy Miston. For any guy who has like the bad ideas of what women want in sex and that kind of thing, I would strongly suggest this book. It's a really dense read. Remind me to link it afterwards here.
I'm actually going to link it now.
Oh yeah, Why Women Have Sex. I have it on my Kindle list here. I didn't have the Amazon link up ready. I'm not prepared, but bear with me on that.
Okay, Dr. Cindy Meston.
That's the one.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I got it right here, man.
Basically what they did is go over, I think, 20, 30 years over women aged 15 to 87. And
wow,
a whole wealth of topics on why they had sex. Sometimes it was revenge sex. I cheated on my husband because he cheated on me, or I had sex with my boss because his wife was pissing. Like every single female sexual motivation you can find, you're in there. And you're going to find that getting the orgasm does not make the list.
Nope.
It's just like you were saying.
Well, listen, man, sex is when we say sex is transactional for women, just about 100% of the time, that isn't necessarily exclusive to I'm trying to get something out of a man. No, women fuck. Dude, we as guys, we fuck for one reason and one reason only. We want to fuck. That's it. Women fuck for every other reason. They fuck because they're happy. They fuck because they're sad. They fuck because they want to prove to their friends they can get fucked. They fuck to prove their ex-boyfriend. I mean, there are just so many other reasons. And the fact that you point out that in that book, Orgasm is what? It's probably not even on that list. Is another reason why you should never care about a woman's needs in bed, because sex for men is just the act. Sex for women is a means to I don't know how many ends, man.
Yeah. And it's nice. So it gets you in the mind space. And I don't want to say, all bitches are bad, all bitches are crazy.
I'll say it. I will say it. All bitches are bad and all bitches are crazy.
Well, I had a nuance with that. Is that if you think of them as men, then yes. If a man was acting like that, it'd be absolutely horrible. But you can't think of them like men. Girls are girls, and they're going to act like girls, and they have girl reasons to do it. They have girl motivations. They have girl mental processes. Once you frame it that way, you realize it's not bad. It's just how they are. And then it's good in the sense that a lot of the MGTOW guys and the MRAs, they have this chip on their shoulder about it because they want their girl to be like Little House on the Prairie, a guy with tits, basically. And it's not a healthy attitude to have. And that anger, I want to say anger, but that chip on your shoulder, it manifests in how you have game. And it really hurts your ability to have good game.
Listen, and I think you've seen this in the Red Pill Reddit. Girls are neither good or bad, right? They just are.
Self-interested, yeah.
Yes. Listen, women take the shape of the container that they're in. Feminism is, it's a play. Dude, feminism is the worst thing to happen to human civilization. Dude, it's worse than 9/11. It's worse than the Civil War. It's worse than all that stuff. It has rendered women...
I'm surprised you had a problem with the Civil War next to feminism there. I figured you'd be all for it.
Well,
seemed to work out well for you. It's all I'm saying.
Yeah, listen, it worked out. It worked out well for us. But listen, man, I've got a multicolored audience. I got to make sure I keep everybody happy. But feminism is so bad. It's so much worse for everybody because everybody loses in feminine. Women think that feminism, they think they're winning. No, you're not winning. You are losing. You've taken 200 cocks in a 3-year span. You lose. That's how this goes. That being said, totally lost my train of thought. No. I'm definitely listen, dude. I get called all kinds of names by black people, dude. I get called a coon. I get called an Uncle Thomas. I mean, dude, my audience knows, man. I always get rid of those guys. But yeah. So women take the shape of the container that they're in. And so 100%. guys always talk about, oh my God, why are women like this? No, women are like this because we allow them to be. Society and our culture allows them to be. Just like you said, they're girls. They're going to act like girls. 99% of the decisions they make are based purely on emotion. So what are they going to do? They're going to do the impulsive, emotional thing because they're women. You can't expect them to act reasonable and rational like we are.
Yeah, and then if you go into some of the books, like any of the pickup books and Sex God Method, they talk about Debbie, where you get that emotional engagement. And that's really the key to a married game, is being able to navigate that. Like, she has those emotions. You drive them as best you can into a way that works well for both of you. Because if they're only going to benefit you, you can be that abusive husband. That'll work short term, but eventually... Yeah,
girls get sick of that
forever. And if you don't actually have that psychological wiring problem in your head, I doubt anybody's going to be able to keep that up long term without fucking snapping.
No, I agree. Not only without snapping, is at some point a girl will know that you're not really like that, and that's when you end up getting in trouble, right?
Dude, I broke character once. So the dog walker I was talking about before.
The dog walker, yes. Let's hear it.
Jeez, I used to say like the meanest shit, and I remember one day, we just finished having sex, and then I said some real ignorant shit, something like, do you want me to call you a cab? She's like, are you kicking me out? I mean, not immediately, but, soon. And then I kind of
went right there calling her a cab.
Yeah, and I got her a drink of water, and I came back, I'm like, I kind of broke character. I'm like, why do you let me do this to you? And she didn't have an answer. She goes, I don't know. You were just better in sex than Mike, which is a buddy of mine that she was trying to get revenge with. That's why she started having sex with me.
There it is.
So there it was like, so when I hear all this people talking about the red pill and hypergamy, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. I think that's easier to swallow if you've been there on either side of the fence. You're like, yeah, I did that too. Yeah, it makes sense.
It's interesting. A lot of guys think that the reason why guys like you and me have all of this awareness and know the way women think and how they cheat and why they cheat, because we've been cheated on so many times. Well, me, I've been cheated on. Dude, I've cheated on girls and I've been cheated on fucking hundreds or thousands of times. But you get more knowledge, Ryan. And I don't know, you can agree or disagree with this. Tell me what your thoughts are on this based on your own personal experience. You learn more about women. You learn about women when you get cheated on, but you learn more about them when you are the guy she is cheating with. I've learned more about the cheating methods of women being the guy who's fucking the wife, fucking the girlfriend. What say you?
100%. I had this thing for the longest time where I tried to remember the name of every girl I ever had sex with. And I think I kept the day that I forgot one of the girls, like I met her and I didn't even know who she was. She's like, yeah, we had sex like last week. I'm like, right. And that's when I stopped really caring about notch counts. Cause I'm like, if I'm not going to remember, what the fuck's the point?
Oh, dude.
This one's name was Rose. And I remember this. I don't know why we ended up having sex. It was just some after party. I had a duty watch at 7:30. It was like 6 o'clock and I hadn't slept yet. And she was telling me how great, like I'm fucking her, and she's telling me how great her fiance is with a big smile on her face, like mid-thrust.
Wow.
But I was so focused on not being late for work because it's the military. If you're late, your ass goes to fucking jail.
Wow.
So I was like finishing up and going to work. So I had to jog like half hungover to like a 5K run to get to work at 7 in the morning with 0 hours of sleep. It was fucking ridiculous. But I remember it was one of those things, and it was so fucked up. It kind of just stuck with me, and I just kept that one in the back of my head. And I'll never forget Rose. If Rose's fiance is here, sorry, man. I had no idea until I was like midway through.
Ryan,
sure
listen,
you're a swell guy. I guess the ring was great. You may be divorced by now. I don't know.
Ryan, you're not sorry, man. Are you sorry you fucked her? Of course you're not sorry, man. Don't apologize.
Well, I'm not sorry I fucked her. I just feel bad that if he's hearing this, then it's probably like ruining his life with his 3 kids.
Oh, God, you know how many kids he has? Jesus Christ.
I hope he's got none, but whatever.
But this is just it, man. Like, this is how you learn about women: is you are the paramour, you are the guy she's cheating with. Listen, you understand how women work getting cheated on, but when you're the guy on the other side, man, you learn a lot more. There was a comment in here I wanted to get to, and it was really ETF
flipping.
No, it was ETF 42. He's one of my more knowledgeable guys. He says there's scores of books out there, or something to this effect, that talk about the fact that women are as unhappy and unsatisfied as they've ever been in human history. It is because of feminism. Women have more today, that they live the best. White American women live the best lives of any other gender, race, nationality, region in the world, and they could not be more fucking miserable.
I think that's the problem with choice.
Yes.
Do you remember that? I don't know what it was from, but when they talk about back when we had 3 types of cereal or 3 TV channels, everybody knew what to watch, everybody knew what to eat.
Yep.
Now, and same thing with the sexual marketplace. For a guy, we still have to go out and hunt. So for us, it hasn't changed too much.
No.
For a girl, you've got 8 different social media aspects. In fact, if there's girls listening to your channel?
Yeah, because I get a lot of hate. Like there's one girl on there. Yeah.
For any girl listening to this about to shit on me, I want you to go home and do an experiment. Go to your Facebook and change your relationship status from engaged or whatever to single, and then watch your private messages just explode. I guarantee it's going to happen. I've been that guy, and you'll see it. Now, if you have 800,000 offers over 7 social media platforms offering dick every day, you're always going to think that there might be something better because there's been so many times that's been true. And of course, you're not going to be happy because even if you're with the absolute best, you're like, maybe there's another one out there. And that's the thing. Like, as we get older, we aren't as attractive as we were when we were 20. Now that we're 30, we're not as good as we were at 25, and then 40, and so on. So while you got that 2 conflicting things where is there better is constantly getting bigger, and the what can we offer to that better thing is slowly going down. And so eventually you reach that tipping point. And I think that's where you get the cat lady spinsters. Met one, and I'm totally overtaking the airtime on this.
No, dude, talk away, man. That's why you're here.
The old lady and I, we had a dinner, and we had one of her friends or acquaintances from, I won't say where. She's the first Midwestern Hillary supporter from the States I'd ever met. And I'm not going to lie, I am so sorry, America. Like, I feel really bad about that. First off, she drank worse than me. And I was a sailor who was from like a fucking small town farm. So if you can outdrink me, kudos. She went on to tell me about the differences between misogyny and sexism, which turns out is benevolence. Misogyny is fuck you, you're a woman. Sexism is I love you, babe, so take off your shoes and go cook barefoot in the kitchen. And then she wanted to take my girl out for a girls' night out to go party until 5 in the morning, and she wasn't really a fan of that anyway. She'd rather be home with me, which is awesome.
Good.
One of the reasons why I really like her. And then and you know how girls, they don't like to be confrontational. So like, you need to make an excuse for me so I can go. I'm like, oh, we're going for a run tomorrow, which we were. This and this, well, I don't really care what you think. And I'm looking, and she's my age. She's like almost 40. She's single. And I'm like, first off, as a girl, you should kind of know this social grace that we're setting up here, and kind of,
Sure.
we're doing this but don't be a cunt.
Wait, hold on. Let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. So you said, hey, we gotta go. We got a run that we got to do tomorrow. And the 40-year-old cunt / Hillary supporter tells you, I don't care what you think. She told you this?
Yeah. All bitchy and everything with like a, what are you going to do kind of face about it, which is fine. God.
Oh my God.
Now, here's the thing. I'm not fucking her. She's not my sister. I don't give a fuck. You do what you want. And like I said before, you can't tell women what to do. You can't control them. I'm not going to start a fight in there like a fucking child.
Of course not.
And
no.
This is a 100% rule for relationships or just in general. There is no fight unless you start a fight. No woman can start a fight with you if you don't want to have a fight.
Okay.
So I'm like, fine, I can't tell her what to do. And then so she had to step up in that case and say, like, no, she's probably right, and uses me as a scapegoat. And I think later on they were talking, and the girl called me an asshole for like an hour, but fuck, whatever. I'm an asshole for 2 hours, really.
Like, yeah, get your time right, bitch. It's been 2 hours.
Well, that's another trick you guys will learn if you follow to the sidebar books from the Married Red Pill. It's called agree and amplify. If a girl says something completely crazy like that,
oh sure,
you just agree with it and amplify it.
Yeah,
so as opposed to she's an asshole, and then I'm not an asshole. I'm actually really no, I'm an asshole, but you got it kind of half right. Just go with it. What's she gonna do? Argue with you? You just agreed with it.
You just agreed with it, right? You've been an asshole for an hour. Actually, it's been about $1.45.
Yeah. She already thinks you're an asshole. What? You're going to say the right magical... You just learned this yourself. You're going to say those right magical words that's going to make the slutty single mom say, oh, I'm sorry I brought that up. Then you're right. No, she's just going to get your ass banned off of Twitter. And you just agree with that. You're like, right. Yeah, every tattooed chick but you.
Oh,
it's fucking horrible. But you found Jesus. So you're all right.
You're all right.
She'd have been happy. She didn't care about womanhood. She cared about her.
Of course she did. She knew I pulled her fucking card, man. This is why she would not stop, because she knew I was right. She kept on going. But dude, that's what I should have said. I should have just agreed and amplified. You know what? I'm sorry, whatever the hell your name was. You're absolutely right. They're making you look bad. You found Jesus. Listen, you're tattooed from head to toe, but you found Jesus. You are the exception to the rule. Praise Jesus. Oh no, she was a Catholic at that. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
And that's the beauty of these things, too, because not just that, like when you're doing these in social situations, there's people around you. And the smart people, they kind of get the nuance of it. You're basically poking fun at them and they're being angry.
Yes.
And it's one of those things that involve pre-selection. Women like a guy who can dominate a situation.
Poke him in the ribs, man. Who's not afraid to piss him off. Yeah.
If we're in a mixed martial arts tournament, they like having the guy that can beat everybody up. But if you're in a social crowd, they like seeing a guy who can socially navigate it.
That's right.
And right there, you've established everything. 1, you ain't no bitch. 2, you're not an asshole. 3, you're such not an asshole that you're willing to poke fun at it because it doesn't even faze you. So you're establishing exactly what you originally wanted to do. In other words, not be an asshole, but you're not playing into her game. And that's the key to the whole thing. Frame. First rule, Iron Tomasi, first rule, frame is everything. And frame is how you narrate the world. It's and I promised myself I wouldn't ramble on your podcast, but this
do it. This is why you're here, man. This is why you're here.
Venkatesh Rao, he used to do work for the Air Force and that. He brought up a great way that humans frame information is by narratives. Old people around peyote telling campfire stories before we had writing. Everything you do is wrapped around a narrative. That's why Hillary supporters think of Trump as an evil, misogynist Russian criminal, because that's the narrative they were given. And everything he does is through that frame. Now you take that same idea and you put it on you. And if you can establish a narrative to things that people can attach their decisions and behaviors to, you can essentially drive how people think about things. So in that example there, the girl thought I was an asshole, and I'm poking fun in that. So like everybody around kind of gets he's fun-loving and playful. She's just sour grapes that she doesn't have a drinking partner. Now, had I just started acting like a damn fool and saying I'm not an asshole, raising a stink, then all of a sudden she's the strong feminist, and I'm the weak MRA who's trying to get mommy to love him. And then the entire situation changes. It flips right on its head. So it's something to always be cognizant of. Like, I know it doesn't get enough play on most of the red pill, but frame is everything. Like, it really is. It can make your game so much easier, so much tighter. And I'm gonna stop rambling now because I'm just
No,
gonna
no,
sit
no,
here and
no,
stop
no.
and keep
I was
saying
gonna.
frame.
Well, here's the thing. I hear a dog in the background. What kind of dog do you have?
I have 3 Italian greyhounds.
Oh,
Kitchens, Chomsky, and
wow!
Sagan.
Holy smokes, man! Up in
Yeah,
those
if you're a red pill, you're not a red pill until you get a sight hound.
okay.
Rolo's got his 3 greyhounds. I got my 3 Ickies.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're quite jumpy out there.
They're fucking each other. That's what dogs do.
There you go. That's what they do. Well, as we round third and head for home, let's still I rise. Basically, he says he banged too many engaged chicks and married chicks in his life to know that it's no that marriage. It's just there's no like marriage just isn't an option for him.
Dude, why would you? My mom had 2 divorces. My girl's parents, they got 30 years together. They never once got married. Like, if all you're seeing is bad examples, like, are you really that much of a special snowflake? I wouldn't.
No, I agree. This is what Rollo Tomasi was talking about when he was on my show Monday. He says, look, I've been married 21 years, but I'm not going to recommend that guys actually get married in this climate. And he acknowledged that he was very fortunate to meet his wife at the time in his life that he did, so he acknowledges that, hey, you know what, my situation is a little bit different. Don't use my situation as the norm or the basis for comparison and say, hey, you know what, if I'm like Rollo Tomasi, then I can get a wife like Rollo Tomasi. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and if you are the exception, like if you truly are and you're smart enough about it, like you're going to know you're the exception. We're going to deal with the 90% certainty here. The bell curve, the big chunk in the middle that says don't, and there's no benefit from it, and you're probably going to get divorced. If you find you're the exception to that, then you're not going to listen to some guy on the internet spouting off about it anyway. But for the vast majority of people, it's a smart play. And everybody's worried. I know the one argument about it is a high quality girl won't settle unless you put a ring on it.
Oh, I mean, I agree.
Yeah, they are. But there's going to be another one.
There's always another one, right?
100% of the high quality girls are all going to ask for that same thing. Like, really, you're not going to be able to find one? Maybe you're not meeting enough girls then.
No, I agree. I think that I think that you have to be out there. But listen, high quality girls are not like, they're just not out there anymore. And if they're the few high quality girls that are even out there in the United States or Canada, if they exist, they're already locked down.
Yeah, but that's just it. There were some that aren't. But that's the thing. Girls cluster. How did that work? The girls cluster around the middle. Guys are extremes. There's a bunch of geniuses. There's a bunch of retards.
That's right.
There's a bunch of super athletes. There's a bunch of manlets. Girls are all 4 to 6s. There's no 10s. There's no 2s. Guys are all 8s and 2s.
That's right.
Girls are 4, 5, and 6.
I love it.
Now I say this because it's a scarcity thing. Like if you're worried you're going to be losing your one because she gives you the ultimatum of a ring or I'm out of here, there's going to be another one that's most likely going to be as good. Not you, baby.
I was going to say no head for you tonight, right?
I won't even go on that here. Yeah, they're replaceable. You get another one.
Of course,
my brother had the same thing. He had 2 girls. They had the same name. They were both named Ashley. First one didn't work out. He got another one that was prettier, younger, and tighter, and she didn't work out. And he's 35 now, and he's swinging it single life, corporate banking. He's doing awesome for himself. No desire to settle down. And if a girl wants him, and he is a high quality man by any measure, then they're just gonna have to accept his price. And that's the thing. Dick is cheap, but good dick is expensive, and it's hard to find.
I agree. Okay, so
and if they don't accept it, fair enough. Take care.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You have to have that abundance mentality. She's not going to be the last girl you ever fuck. You have to think of it that way. So let's get into just a few scenarios before we bring this thing to a close. Handling misbehavior from your woman, and I actually think that you answered this question right at the top of the broadcast. You said affection, attention, commitment. Yep. Within the context of a long-term relationship, those are the most valuable commodities that you possess that women want.
The only ones.
Right, there you go. So when a woman withholds sex from you for whatever reason, how does Rian Stone handle that?
Well, it's perfect. You mentioned this because I actually have my own. I call it a routine because it's essentially a thing. But a lot of guys who are having the same problem, this is how I recommend it. First thing you need to do, and one of our moderators, the Blue Pill Professor, has a book called The 12 Steps of Dread, and it's a very provocative term, but essentially that's have a frame, start working out, start dressing better, learn not to put up with bullshit, distance yourself with somebody based on the value they provide. And this is the routine. You're going to the gym because you want to work out because you're probably a fat guy and that's why she's not having sex with you or whatever, you're too skinny. So you have your gym bag, you go to the gym at 7 every day. Every day you go at 7, regardless. 6:50, you go make a move, you try and hit on your woman. If she doesn't want to fuck you, you're grabbing your gym bag and you're gone. You're removing your attention.
There you go.
It's just that simple. Because the guys will say, well, if I try to have sex with her and then she turns me down, won't I look like I'm butthurt when I walk away? Like, she already thinks you're a fuck. Just own it. But this gives you that thing, right? Like, oh, we're not going to do it. I got to go to the gym. And then you'll have this argument probably, well, why are you going to go to the gym? It's like, well, my hour is going to be used productively. I gave you first crack at it. Now, at that time, it's not going to be all of a sudden an instant switch where, oh, well, geez, take me now. But it establishes that your time is and your validation isn't free. So there's now a price. And I'm not saying it like it's a transactional thing, but
sure, but
like if she wants your attention, she has to provide
value. She has to work for it. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Right. She has to work for it. And that's a one good example, but there's tons of examples. Just always have something better to do. Don't try hitting on her 5 minutes before you're about to go to sleep, because then you're just going to sit there not sleeping. You're going to stew for a while. You're going to sneak off into the bathroom and jerk off on the toilet like a fucking Neanderthal.
In the toilet, goddamn.
Dude, that's my foregone example of the guys who get butthurt and just stay there and sulk. I'm like, well, why don't you just sneak off into the bathroom and rub one out in quiet where nobody can hear? Like, keep it quiet. You don't want to wake her. Like, fuck, man. Have a little self-respect.
Yeah, dude, where's your dignity, man? Dude, so listen, if you're gonna sneak off and jerk off, dude, go to the bar, right? All right, you don't want to fuck? Yeah, just go to the bar.
You pay for the bed. Go for it. What's she gonna do? Get mad at you? Well,
right. I mean,
you're more than welcome to take over.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Women will say, "Well, a man can't rape his wife," and all that other nonsense.
See, now that's the one thing I take that as like a hard boundary.
Okay.
As soon as they start mentioning that shit, that's like criminal.
Yes.
So I would definitely treat that with some more gravity. And for the guys that have the girls that go that route, we honestly suggest they go meet a lawyer. They get divorce paper. They get an entire roadmap of how their divorce is going to go. They're still working on being a high value man that can replace her. But at that point, you can't really play around with that because like you see shit, people go down. People go to jail for this shit. So I'm not playing.
Wow. Are you kidding me? Like this is the first
hard thing. But if somebody like, I have never been with a girl who's threatened to like rape me as a vindictive thing.
Sure.
So for that,
right.
That's like somebody saying, I'm going to kill you. And you can tell they're serious. Like, even if they're not serious, like, are you going to play? I'm not playing.
So wait, hold on. Let me just stop you right there. So there are men out there who are going to jail because their wives accuse them of rape.
Yes, it's not common, but but it's plausible.
Wow.
Like I said, it doesn't happen very often, but there's enough times that it does happen. And it's not just that. In a divorce proceeding, I can't remember, one of the lawyer guys we have there, he talked about how fake domestic violence charges are the #1 tool that women would use to get custody of the children.
Of course.
So like I lump all this stuff, domestic violence, spousal rape, lump it all into the same category of basically weaponizing the courts against you to put you in your place. And if you're with somebody that you're supposed to be spending your life with and falling in love with, and they're willing to go that route, well, then I would argue at this point, you need to look out for you. Have those divorce papers sit on your hand. And this is, if you're generous, the best I can say is you have these papers in your hand. If I ever fucking hear that again, signature and we're out the fucking door. I would quash that shit right then. It's one of the few times where I would say, yes, you need to enforce, like get her to do something.
Okay.
It just establishes that you're not fucking playing. Because if she does that, and I have an article I call the 5 Pillars of Manipulation. It talks about that. And anger is one of them. Because she knows if she gets angry, you're going to acquiesce because you can't fight a girl. You can fight a guy. You can't fight a girl. So you treat it like if it's a 6'5" mammoth dude trying to fight you. You just, sorry, man, no trouble. Then you just established, you rewarded bad behavior. So now she knows every time she throws out that domestic violence charge or that rape charge. And this is an extreme
right
example.
in line. Yes, well, of course, but it happens. Listen, right? It happens more. Now that false domestic violence stuff, that happens more than you think, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's why most guys end up just settling out of court because they have to. Because you can't shake, and even if you shake that shit off. Like you can be Kevin Spacey, your Netflix special ain't getting renewed next year.
Hell no. Got a guy in here.
So now, even if you are good on it, yeah, well that's great. But now all my friends and my parents hate me, so I'm innocent though. I'm like, fucking good job.
Okay, so that was a very good answer as far as withholding sex. So the other part, I guess the only other example that I mean, there are many other examples of women behaving badly in marriages. Yeah. But when they're just being generally bitchy, they're bitching, they're nagging about nothing, they're giving you the cold shoulder, they're just being otherwise insufferable. Do you, again, attention, affection, commitment. How do you, I guess in essence, just like what you said, how do you weaponize that against her to quit with the cold shoulder bullshit?
I would put two different reactions. One, if it's truly bitchy in that, just leave. Pull your attention, pull your affection.
There you go. Let's get the fuck out of there.
Where am I going? Fucking somewhere else. I'm gonna go fuck the secretary. So whatever. I don't even care. You don't have to say anything. Actually, it's better if you don't say anything.
Yeah, just bounce. Just despair, man.
One of our more caddish guys, he's pretty much a huge dick. He used to just do that. If she would bitch and complain to the point where he had enough, he just leaves for an entire night. Comes home the next day, doesn't say a word, goes straight to the shower. And I guess
I love it. Her. Of course, of course.
But at the same time, it could be she's acting really bitchy and ornery because she's dying for
the D.
Emotion. Yeah, an emotion. So what she's doing is saying, you haven't given me emotional engagement, so I'm going to garner some up myself. And that's why I argue you should kind of start fights for no reason that you don't really care about.
Get angry.
Just to build that. So instead of you reacting to her attitude, you're setting the stage. You're building the frame. And it works great. One of our other moderators, Bogey D6, he does that with his wife all the time. You can kind of tell, like every 3-4 days, she kind of gets a little ornery, so he'll start some random fight over something he doesn't even care about, builds it all the way up, and then just drops it off to nothing, which pisses her off more because he's not engaged in anymore, and then segues that into sex. And it's great. He calls it, like, he doesn't use the word bitch management, but it's bitch management. And it's not a bad thing because that's what she wanted. She wants to feel something, and then she wants to have a release. You're running game on your wife, and it's not doing pickup. You're not doing the game. You're just getting her angry and then calming her down and then having some great sex afterwards. If anything, I think it makes you a great husband.
I got two more quick things, man, because you're really dropping some gems here. My guy, Miami J, I've got a consult with him tomorrow. He says, Donovan, here's the thing. I used to live in Reno, Nevada before I moved out here to Philly. And there is a female attorney. Ryan, you got to look this chick up on YouTube. Her name is Marilyn York. And she is a men's divorce attorney. This bitch has red pill commercials, man. I can't even describe to you how brilliant this woman is. And when it comes to matters of...
Oh, there she is. Yeah, she's got that calling the manager haircut and everything.
Yes, bruh. Listen, this chick gets all kinds of hate from women. And she said, dude, the stuff that she says, it's all red pill. And I remember she did like this, the mean tweets, like a quasi mean tweets, like one of the night shows do. And she was reading off all these mean tweets that she's getting from women. Like, oh yeah, Marilyn York uses this as a brothel to sleep with her male clients. Marilyn York is trying to trade her vagina in for a penis. And then at the end of the commercial, she says to the audience, she says, do you guys need any more convincing as to why I only represent men? Dude, listen, man, the bitch is badass. And so Miami J, responding to one of my chatters, who I guess was in a domestic violence situation, said, should you get a female attorney? Yes. Because guess what, Ryan? Females know females. And when you are paying a female attorney to get you off, they know all the manipulation tricks they play, man. In matters of divorce, false rape, false domestic violence, child custody, female attorney trumps all. It trumps all, man.
I'll take your word on that. Like I said, I haven't
Marilyn
had to go that yet, but
hold on, I'm gonna put it.
I already liked her. I loved her in House of Cards.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm looking at her. She's exactly like, what's that chick?
She's played by Robin. Yeah, Robin Wright Penn. I don't know what her name is in the.
That's the one. That's her right there. And she's standing in front of a baseball field.
Yes.
Why doesn't she hold apple pie and have an M16 while she's at it?
Oh, it's fucking great. But it's funny because like in one of her monologues, she's like, well, she's like, women, they're such planners, aren't they? She's socking away money and hooking up with your son's t-ball coach on Facebook. And then there was one time she was in like this man cave. She says, well, why can't you watch the game? I don't know. You tell me. She's the one that took your flat screen, half your money, and all of her kids. Give me a call. I was like, oh my God, this bitch is for real, dude.
That is awesome. I like her already.
She is awesome, and bitches fucking hate this. And of course, she's been divorced 3 times herself because she's a female attorney, and she's probably insufferable. But if I were ever stupid enough to get married in this country and get divorced, dude, I'm putting that bitch on retainer, man. Straight up.
Yeah, as long as she's your asshole. She can be an asshole.
That's right.
She's your asshole.
Now, Ryan, before we end this thing, married red pill, man, like you've dropped a lot of gems on here that I hadn't thought of before. Tell my audience why Married Red Pill is a good resource for red pill or for men who are in long-term relationships and marriage, because it sounds to me like it could probably be a really good source.
2 big reasons. One, we don't talk about women.
Oh,
it's the most counterproductive thing. Most of the problems that a guy has in a marriage are him stepping on his own dick.
Okay.
Self-sabotage, psychological hangups. Maybe he wants to be too much of a nice guy and he's worried about pissing people off. He walks on eggshells. 90% of the problems are you not being a high value male. Like if you remember from the old mystery days, the 2 rules, like be attractive, don't be unattractive.
That's right. Right.
Honestly, the devil's in the details, but those 2 things alone, you would be surprised how much women will fight to keep you in their life if you're a high value man with options. And yeah, then once you're past that, then sometimes you're with a girl that truly is horrible, but now you know you've done everything you can. And when you leave her, the next one's going to be fine because she's got a self-actualized man with her. But like I said, most girls cluster around the middle. If a guy gets his shit together, a girl will usually reflect that and have her shit together too. Which, and as much as I want to talk about how great mine is, I guess that kind of means I'm taking credit for it. So yeah.
No,
yeah,
I mean, you know what? I'll fucking do it too.
Did that. Look what I did.
Listen, man, I'm telling you what, man, like I put enough time and energy into my woman. And listen, I'll give my woman credit. She's come a long way, but my woman would not be who she is today without Donovan Sharp. And she will sing that from the highest fucking mountaintop. You're a good woman, but it's because of me. Like, don't get it twisted, chick. Like it takes a man's man to shape and mold a woman. And I don't know how extreme you are about this, but to me, I shape and mold a woman into my image. I've had only 3 women that I've ever done this with in my post red pill in my life. They fall
better than me. I've only had 1.
Well, yeah.
The rest,
actually, you're better than me because you only had to do it once. I'm on chick number 3 with this shit. But either way, I think the married red pill is an excellent source for men because like the kind of stuff that you talk about just in this show on that Reddit, it really does seem to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I'm not this smart. This is 10,000 guys swapping notes because everybody has the red pill idea in their head of what it is. In the end of the day, all it is guys swapping notes. Pickup artists were settling down, and then they kept their same pickup artist attitude of swapping notes with each other on what worked and what didn't.
Only this time within the context of a long-term relationship or a marriage.
Yeah, and the red pill is good for like some of the higher concepts, hypergamy and all that stuff, but married red pill tries to keep it as practical as possible. And I wish we had gentlemen's clubs like we used to, not strip clubs, but actual gentlemen's clubs or barber shops or anything. Yes. We don't have those anymore, so now we have an internet forum. Well, it's not great, but it's what we got.
Well, I mean, listen, man, men used to have a place to kind of sit around men, sip a scotch or a whiskey and smoke cigars and just talk about life, man.
Yeah, just the online version of that. And that's what I like about it. It's very simple. It doesn't try to be more than it is.
Ryan, I appreciate you coming on with us today, man. This is the first time I've done a one-on-one with you, but you dropped some serious knowledge on here today, man. I appreciate you coming on and making time for us today, man.
No problem. I actually like your readers. Some of these questions here, some of them were like, I'm really glad you didn't go on them because I'm like, oh.
Yeah, you have to.
Guy here said I'm about to get divorced now.
Oh my, well, hey. Hey man, we changed lives here in TSR Towers. But yeah, I always pride myself because I really do believe that I have some of the most informed. I probably have one of the most informed audiences out there. They every once in a while I'll get a new guy. Yeah, every once in a while I'll get somebody in here that asks, "Oh, what's an LTR or what's SMV?" Okay, but guess what? I never have to answer those questions because my audience jumps in there. They never ask things where I have to give remedial red pill awareness. These guys know their shit, and because of that, they ask questions that actually make me think. It makes my job a little bit easier. So I always plan on delivering a message, but then I end up dropping a little more knowledge that I drop a different message than I had intended to. In addition to what I was talking about before, because of the questions they ask. So you can see, man, these guys are the best in the bunch, man.
Ask for a better readership.
Absolutely not, man. Absolutely not. Ryan, I appreciate your time, man. Anytime you want to come on, man, let me know. We'll make it happen, brother.
Sure, I'll take you up on that. Thank you very much for having me.
That does it for TSR Live, guys. We will see you tomorrow.